Okay, so can I invite you guys up, James and Peter? You all right coming up? Yes. So Peter was a last minute standing, wasn't you? So thank you. So Seb, who was due to be here, couldn't make it. So thank you for that. So we have some questions that have been. They are aware of the questions that they'll be asked. So. Yeah, and you, I didn't really ask you your story, but you work, don't you, for Hope Ministries now as well there? Yeah, very good. We won't be asking you any more questions. You can come up at the end, and if anyone's got any specific ones for you, we can do that there, that's good. Okay, so I'll just let you introduce yourselves first, so you can, who you are and where you're from. Hello.
My name's Peter. As you can gather from my accent, it's not very Welsh. I'm from southern England. What we call Worcestershire country. And this is James.
Hello, name's James, I'm from Newport, South Wales. Nice to meet you all.
Very good. So how many Welsh men and women have we got in the room? Reese Hopkins, is a good old Welsh name? Yeah, so we got 3, very good. Okay, so maybe to you, Peter, first then. Can you just tell us a bit about your journey leading up to going into this residential rehab and why you chose a residential rehab?
For me, there was no other choice. It had to be the Christian rehab. But before I came in, I did a 2-week detox for alcohol. I mean, I was bad alcohol. Lost my job, everything. I was very fortunate. I had a 2-week detox in Worcestershire, or Worcestershire Mud, they call it. It's more like it. It was great. I was home a week, and then the phone went, and there was a guy from where we are now saying, "We've got a place for you. Can you come over?" And I was like, "Wow, this is quick." But yeah, I've been there 3 months where I am now. I started off in Bridgend, which is like the welcome house. So we come in there and we get settled. And then we moved to Cambran. I was sort of clean by then, but my head was the right state. Oh, the idea it still is some days. It's a process, but it's how it's dealt with. And I'm kind of in the right place. Well, we all are, aren't we, James? We really are, because we're just broken, you know? Just absolutely broken. And we've got a ladies' house as well. And some of their scores makes ours look, well, a nosebleed, really, didn't it? So that was my mum's alcohol. So what am I now? Probably 6 months of not drinking. So, and I don't I don't even think about it anymore. So that's and I love the name of your church. It's grace, and I've got God's grace that I'm stood here today telling you guys about this. So.
Thank you. And the house in Cambran, just tell us what that looks physically. What is that? What that looks like? So Cambran is the main centre. Tell us what that just physically what the house is like there.
We've got how many have we got at the minute? Hope Centre. Yeah, Hope Centre. What have we got at the minute? One's going tomorrow. 8. So we've got 8 guys in this house. It's a biggish house, isn't it? We need a big house. Space around us, so it's good.
Cold plunges in the morning, or you can do that. We got football goals out the back. We have a game of football out there. There's 10 bedrooms, a cellar, there's a games room. There's a big kitchen which we all cook in. We take it in turns to cook for when we leave. I suppose because I've never really been good at cooking all my life. I'm still not like good, but better than I was.
So tell us, James, just a bit about your story before you got there and what led you to go to a rehab. Residential rehab.
Desperation, really. I was bad in sin. I was using drugs every day, stealing, and I just wanted to turn my life around for the better, which I'd done. I I've been in the Hope Centre now for 11 months. I got three weeks left of my programme. And then I'm going on to a move-on house, one of the houses they've got in Pontywydd, which is in Cwmbran, close to the rehab centre. And then my journey of a better life will continue.
What did you like about the programme? What was it about the programme that sort of kept you there? Structure, just learning things like cooking, stability instead of just running away from things, sticking it out, doing a whole programme, achieving something, and the blessing of it all is finding God for me, which I thought being christened years ago meant you was a Christian, but obviously I was wrong. So tell us then a bit about your faith journey in the recovery house.
First of all, I was a bit sceptical with it. I was about the healing and things, but through my journey I've grown. I go out now, I've been evangelising quite a few times. I've given my testimonies in a prison and at quite a few different churches. I'm going to an evangelising course this week in London. I'm going to Israel in April. I'm going to the list goes on. I'm going to Africa in August. Yeah.
Right. Tell us a bit about your testimony then. So what you would have told them in prison. What's your sort of part of your story? Basically, I was lost. Jesus came to seek and to save the lost. And he saved my life, turned my life around for the better. I was a lost cause. I was just working to fund my drug habit, really. No life. We came into the Hope Centre and Christ has changed everything for me. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Peter, tell us a bit about your faith journey. What's that look like for you?
I came to faith in 2013, and that took me going to prison to find faith, to be honest. That was due to alcohol. Got 18 months, I served 9. Was well inside, I found Jesus was in there. I don't know what they had him in for, but he was in there.
Yes!
Knocked on the door, and I've had my ups and downs, but I'm right back in it now. It's just accelerated since I've been in the Hope Centre. It's just absolutely like Jim here, it's just opened doors for us. And we're doing mad things now, evangelising and going out. And I was in a church yesterday up in Leicester, and there's 300 people banging off in I don't know what sort of languages. And I'd run away before, I thought, what's going on here, but it's just great, it's just absolutely great. And it's another step up and another. And I just can't thank Hope Centre enough. And like Jim said, it's the structure of what we do as well. We've got a programme we do called True Freedom, which our Pastor Bex, how many books we did? 3. And there's a 4th coming out. So it's run parallel, isn't it, to whatever else we do.
Yeah.
So yes.
Tell us a bit about that structure. What would a normal day look like for you? So obviously most folks here wouldn't know what.
Okay.
So give us a bit of insight into.
We're up for 7 o'clock. We go downstairs and it's an old house. There's a lovely dining room. It's all wood panelled and wood tables. It's great, isn't it? So we go down there in the morning and we do a kind of gratitude list. We do what we want to achieve today. We have kind of a devotional as well, and then we watch motivational videos for 15 minutes to get us up and going. When we do that, we start the kind of work programme, and it's a combination of sermons, the workbooks,
And we have breakfast.
Yeah, I'll don't forget breakfast, yeah.
Hash shops.
Hash shops.
Do a hash shop every day.
Yeah, I do.
So it's very, very sort of disciplined, like I say. There's a lot of structure to it.
Yeah.
And the cold plunge, where does that take?
That's optional.
Oh, is it? Have you ever done the cold plunge?
Crazy, honestly. It's really,
What's that, outdoor pool, is it, or something?
Yeah, you leave it outside, it was really cold.
Wow.
It's meant to be good for your dolphins.
How many people do it? Out of the 10 guys, how many people do that?
probably 2 or 3.
Is that amazing?
You'll get really low.
Might be more when it's warm.
I don't know what people think when they go by, because our drive's quite open. And we were it was getting worse the other couple of days, and we were all out front. And the next door neighbour come out and just stood at the bottom of the lane, like looking at us. Oh, come on in. He's like, hey, all right. Yeah, so they're all this cold water plant, just screaming and singing hymns, and it's like, I don't know what people always think. It's a Christian nutters, probably.
We should get one here, shouldn't we? Over to you, James. Just about, can you tell us, I know these are some of the questions you sort of discussed with Scott, but about relationships with friends and family and how that's changed over these sort of 11, 12 months?
My mum and dad, they wouldn't have trusted me 11 months ago with anything really. I put them through quite a lot, like crashing their car. I didn't actually speak to my mum and dad in the end, because all I was interested in is taking drugs, going to work and just using. So I got a good relationship. My mum and dad come to church every week. They come to church, support me, and my mum's in faith. My dad's he just sits down every week. And my son, I wasn't really having a relationship with my son, but now I've been taking him out like every, say, once a month or whatever. They allow you to go home. I go out with him, take him bowling. Just a much better relationship with him, speaking to him like a father should. And I can see he can see the difference in me as well. That his dad, he's got his dad back.
Right. Yeah. What would you? So you're looking forward. What does the future look like for you now? Would you say? You said you're moving into the move on house. So just explain a bit about that and then how you see the future.
Well, I'm going back to work. I was doing scaffolding for like 18, 20 years. So I've got a job lined up. I've got a place lined up, a move on house for when I leave in 3 weeks. I'm going to stay connected with the church. I suppose go on as many missions as I can, really, for God, you know. The future's looking brilliant for me, and stay sober, clean and sober.
That's brilliant. Yeah, fantastic. And Peter, for you, just your future, what does that look like for you?
He knows up there, I don't. All I got to do is just trust him, because I want to know where I was sort of 6-7 months ago. So that's all I can do. Possibility of a mission coming up in September when I finish to Macedonia. I've done Africa before, and place where Moldova, it's next to Ukraine. Yeah, I went there. Don't know why Lord just went, you're going to Moldova. And I'm like, really? Yeah, you are going to Moldova. So it's to be a bit of a Jonah. I mean, he's Peter the Rock, but it's more like Jonah. So I'm not going there. So, you're going there. So, I'd like to do something and keep this going now, actually in the centre and helping others, and just lifting them up, especially younger guys. When they leave, it breaks your heart, you know, it really does. But we can only do what we do, and that's it, you know. It's like the starfish principle. You can't save them all, but even if you can save one, get them on that new life journey, especially when they're young, then so be it.
Brilliant. Yeah, thank you guys. Thanks very much. There will be an opportunity to ask some questions at the end. Anything else you wanted to say now, guys?
Thank you for having us here today to share.
Any questions, feel free. And if you need any prayer, you guys are, if you want to come and let's pray for you, anything.
Fantastic. And the opportunity at the end as well, which is really good time for it when we can just eat together.
Well, thank you. It's been really blessed coming up.
So Scott's just going to say a bit about the house, really, isn't it?
Pete said most of it, so I've got really to say. So some of you may know that I was trapped in addiction for around 17 years, and over the years tried many things to break free from addiction and that lifestyle, but every time I just felt trapped. In the end, Christian rehab was suggested to me, and that was the start of my residential recovery journey. As I was just sat listening to Pete and James, I actually wrote that was the start of my recovery journey, but it wasn't. The start of my recovery journey is when we come to this church. Me and my wife, wasn't my partner, now she's my wife. We came to this church. I was full in addiction. I had no teeth, covered in tattoos. I was a right mess. And as soon as I walked in that church, people just gathered round us, supported us, loved us, taught us, told me off now and again, but just got round us and, just showed us love. And for me, I've never ever felt that. Even from my mum and dad, I knew they loved me, but they give me, presents and money and cars. Didn't really feel that love. So that was really my start of the recovery journey. People getting beside us and supporting us. I'm now a house leader at Hope Ministries in Wales, who we will be partnering with to manage the recovery house in Bromsgrove. Hope Ministries UK have been supporting men and women since 2007, and over the years have helped over 2,000 people overcome addiction, with their mission to restoring lives, families and communities. It's an 8-month programme where the resident will receive help and support on navigating life without using drink and drugs. We work through the True Freedom books. They get help on addressing past traumas, gaining life skills, doing work therapy, counselling, money management, and etc. You may be thinking, how could you help and support this? Well, this might sound really strange, but usually at the start, the drink and drugs aren't the problem, and they are normally a solution to the problem, but then they do become the problem. So when you remove the substance, the problem is still there. For me, a few of my problems were not feeling accepted, no confidence, not knowing how to manage emotions, feeling unloved, and so on. When I went to the Carpenter's Arms rehabilitation, why are you laughing?
You're talking really fast.
Yeah, I want the food.
It's nice having your wife in the congregation. It's really
I was going to say that.
Food's open,
He was on the roll.
What was I going to say?
I don't know, you were on the roll, mate. I don't know why.
Anyway.
Talking about what you needed, Scott, what helped you in your recovery, and the symptoms. That's right.
No,
it's not the problem. You were talking about drugs not being the problem, and the problem's still there. So at the start.
Yeah, so I learned a lot when I went to the Carpenter's Arms, which is another recovery house. It wasn't just about stopping the drink and drugs, it was learning how to live again, how to treat people, how to treat myself, how to love myself, how to love other people, how to deal with things I hadn't dealt with for years, booking appointments, just, it might sound silly, but just silly little stuff that I hadn't done for years. So the church and the recovery house are places where we can become part of the solution and the problem can be dealt with. By things I've already mentioned, plus through people in this church. When I think back to my journey, I learned a lot through people in this church, and most of them haven't got a medical degree or experience in drug work. They just showed me love and that there was a better way. As addicts, we can be judged and placed in a category and become an outcast of society. It can be a very lonely place. So when people wanted to spend time with me, asked how I was, helped me with things, invited me into their family homes, and showed me love and kindness, it meant the world to me. It wasn't something I had experienced for a long time. There are many ways to help out, from simple things like coming to spend time with the men, playing games, watching films, Bible studies, having conversation, days out, etc.
Thank you, Scott. I think that's a really important point, that actually the drugs aren't often the initial problem. The more you talk with guys that are, men and women that are in addiction, the more you realise they struggle with the same things we all struggle with. That's just how they've dealt with it. So they struggle with, feeling worthy, struggling with self-worth. So all the things we all struggle with. That's just, it happens that drugs is the way they've dealt with that, and then that becomes a real problem. And the issue then is that society doesn't have time for you. It's a very different, you're approached very differently. I went to the Fixed conference earlier this year, which is a conference held up north, and it's a room full of 500 people. 95% of them have had drug or alcohol addiction problems. And the guy at the front that was speaking, who himself was addicted to heroin and crack, so 20 odd years before, he said, listen, everyone messes up in their life. Everyone messes up. We've just messed up with style, is what he said. Which was a really interesting way of looking at it. But I think that is really key to remember, that actually you don't need to know anything about addiction in that sense to help to be involved in this, because the problems are the same as for all of us. And it's worth pointing out here that this, as a church, we're not just this. This is just, as a church, we're God's family here and nationally, that come together to worship, that worship in our lives, that are walking through life together. But there are things that we do that can actually really help in that. Partly God's called us to do this in terms of looking after the marginalised. That's a key part of the church. And as you read through the Bible, you see that time and time again, that often God's people sort of drift from that. And it all becomes a bit more religious. And the more religious you become, the less you become involved in actually the world, and the more you draw away from those that are marginalised in the world. So we're definitely called to that. But actually, I see this as a fantastic opportunity to obey what Jesus has asked us to do, but also a way of drawing us all together, and us as a church being built up and encouraged as much as these guys. Very quickly, because we're 5 minutes over already, but update on the house. The sale is going through. We've had the surveys done, so Steve's just going to be feeding back to the owners about the surveys. The planning permission has gone in to change it from what is currently a 6 or 7 up to an 8-bed house, so we're just waiting for that to come back. It's looking like it will go through in April, so we'll have it sometime in April. And it's looking like the first guys will be in there in May, hopefully, if Clyde and the folks. Because what they're going to do is take a few guys from the current house and bring them over here with Scott to sort of embed the culture while the work and everything's still going on in the house. So that could be May. So in terms of what we can do as a church, very practically, Scott said a lot of the things. Practically, there's going to be tons of work to do on the house, cleaning, decorating, everything else. So if you're keen on doing that, I know we'll have some serving events, but if you want to be involved in that way, there's always that. The other thing that can't be emphasised enough is praying, both generally for this, but also specifically when with the guys there. You can almost pick a person. It's almost like the sponsor, is it? Pick someone and say, I'm going to pray for you, let me know what you want. So I think that's a brilliant way of supporting it, even if you can't be there and be around practically. There is the going around, and some of it is literally going around, isn't it, guys, just spending time together, whatever it is in the house, together with people. I think that's really good in terms of building relationships. Hospitality in your own house here, in the Sundays, and then other things like Bible studies, devotionals, general discipleship. And as I just want to emphasise again, as Scott said, you don't need any qualifications for this. This is just relational, Okay, so that's it. Are there any questions that folks want to ask here and now that we think might be useful for everyone? Otherwise, we will be finished for food, and you will have opportunity to ask questions. But is there anything you want to ask any of them, including you and now, who's up at the front? Yeah, Flip. I know Flip.
I don't know if you've answered this because I'm really a bit in and out, but What have you found most helpful from the church that you're connected with in your sort of freedom journey?
It's a good question. Who do you want to ask that to?
All of them.
Anyone? I'll ask you, but feel free to hand it on.
Through the church. Well, we do quite a few courses to do with the church, an Alpha course. I've gone around people's houses for discipleship, like meetings where you all pray and yeah, I suppose we have prayer meetings every Wednesday, and it's optional, but you know, most of us go to it. Anything else to add to that?
Yeah, we're trying to get more involved with the community. So at the minute, me and Brother James are doing a bit of ground for us. So there's a lady with 2 disabled kids and a garden. I've never seen anything like it. But we're going to restore it, and we're going to put down some astroturf, slab it for, and make it a really nice garden for the children to enjoy. So that's something we really want to get involved with. Because we've got the hands and we've got the skills to do things, so why not benefit others with it, you know?
Right, yeah. So physical sort of stuff as well.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Any other questions? Yeah.
What happens when people leave and go on to the next stage? Do they stay in contact with the church and friends that they've made and relationships that they've built? Or how do they get that support going forwards?
Oh, I'm out here and you're right, you'll be fine. Yeah. It all depends on where they leave. If they leave, really it's all down to the person. The great thing about Hope Centre is it's all choice-based. They're not in prison. A lot of these guys have been in prison, so they don't associate with like prison. They choose what they do, and if they decide that they want to stay plugged in, and they decide that they want to, stay around the church community, then absolutely. We do have, as James was saying, we do have in connection with Victory Church, which is the local church that we attend. They run something called Phase 3 supported housing. That is like the immediate connection between the Hope Centre and Victory Church for someone to move on and stay connected. But again, it may not be that particular route that they go down, but they may find somewhere else to live and then still stay with this church. They may find another church, they may go on a totally different journey. I wouldn't say everybody leaves, but a lot of people do tend to move on to their own journeys for that, and that's okay. But if we can kind of support them as best as possible while they're here, even if they go, we know that they're going to go on to the things that they call to go on to, rather than just, stay.
I'll add, there's volunteers who come in as well. Some of the nights help out, and I know from the women's centre, there's a lady who's gone into one of the people who've helped out. She's staying with them now. I got offered myself by one of the volunteers that I could live with him once I finished my programme, but I chose to go into volunteering.
So the move on house, so the Hope Ministries sort of move on house, does that have somebody that lives in with you, or is it in what way is that supported, I suppose, for you?
Well, the 2 people I'm going to be moving in with they've done a programme themselves. They've been clean for years. So for me, it's just having that accountability. Yeah, just people to speak to, I suppose, if any niggles was to come in, and I prefer for the first year or whatever to be round other people and then maybe get a place of my own. Or
there's also a person hired or beginning to work as part of the church as an overseer for, because it is technically a separate charity, supported housing charity, and therefore there'll be somebody who will manage that sooner or later, who will then go in and teach Bibles, do Bible studies, continuing recovery sessions with them, that their recovery is ongoing. I think one thing I'd mention is that we're all in recovery, every single one of us who have gone from not knowing Christ to knowing Christ, and that recovery from substance abuse is just like Sean was saying, it's just one tiny portion of the cookie. You've got so much more cookie to get, and it's actually a little bit of a bad plug, but that's part of book 4, so I would recommend everybody, absolutely everybody, reading book 1, 2 and 3, because there's so much information that would help you without being, like, I'm not medically trained, but it's like the mixture between a revelation from God and a biblical approach to a mental understanding of addiction, and not just substances or activities, but to sin and death. Like, we're all recovering from it. We all need to get away from. Well, we were in sin, and now we're free, and that's a lot. That's not just a small thing. Like, wow, I've been set free from everything. Okay, so there's a journey there for all of us to learn. So, bad plug, sorry. No,
that's good. So that was the books that I think one of the guys mentioned earlier, Becca Thomas, who's Fine and Becca Thomas, the ministers at the church and run her ministries. She's written her own material, so there's 3 books out now. It's called True Freedom. You can get it online anywhere, and she's just writing a 4th book, and it is very good.